The mug slipped from my fingers, coffee splashing across my pristine white carpet as my father's words registered through the phone. "We've decided it would be best if you didn't attend your sister's graduation ceremony. We need to focus on people who have actually achieved something." Through my window, I could see the laptop with its red bow, a $1,200 gift from my sister, who would never know I bought it. "Don't bother coming home this weekend," my father continued, his voice hardening. "Elle needs to focus on her celebration. Your presence would only remind everyone of, well, your shortcomings." The line went dead before I could respond. My name is Tara. I'm 30 years old and the CEO of a medical nutrition company. This is the story of how I rebuilt my life after being erased by my own family. I suppose I should have expected this. For as long as I could remember, my parents had made it clear that my younger sister Elle was their true pride and joy. I was just the defective firstborn they were obligated to tolerate. My father's family ran a medical clinic where my mother worked. We appeared perfect, but the reality was poisonous. "Listen here," my father had told me during my 3rd year of high school, his voice cold as he towered over me at the kitchen table. "We won't allow you to go to college. You're just a defective good-for-nothing anyway." I'd recorded that conversation. I'd been documenting their abuse for years. Withheld meals, ruined textbooks, being locked outside in winter. "There's no way you could get into college," my mother had added. "You'll start working right after high school and give us money. You need to properly repay us for raising someone as unlovely as you." I'd nodded, eyes downcast while mentally calculating the growing balance in my secret bank account. It was the one they didn't know existed, funded by the portion of my part-time income I'd been carefully underreporting for years. After high school, I worked freelance jobs for 3 years. Unknown to them, I had rented an apartment and was taking night classes. When my sister was preparing for exams, I was finally kicked out. "I can't concentrate with you around," Elle had complained. "My parents expected me to beg to return. Instead, I vanished completely." That was 9 years ago. I excused myself from my husband Kane to use the ladies' room at the luxury hotel where Elle's wedding was held. I was only here because my aunt, my father's distant cousin who had always been kind to me, had forwarded the invitation. She thought I should know about it. I debated attending, but Kane thought it might provide closure. As I emerged from the restroom, familiar voices caught my attention. "Oh, look who's here. That defective piece of goods. Why is she in a place like this?" "What do you mean, Mom? Oh my goodness, you're right. Why would anyone invite her?" These weren't subtle remarks. They were deliberate insults. I quickened my pace to avoid confrontation. "Wait, right there, you ugly thing. I know you can hear me." I kept walking. Someone grabbed my arm from behind. "I told you to wait," shouted the woman, gripping my arm, slightly out of breath. I looked her up and down before firmly shaking off her hand. When I did, she stumbled dramatically with an exaggerated cry, her designer dress swishing around her knees. "Elle, are you all right? How violent she is," said another woman, rushing to support her. "I suppose this is what happens when someone with such a low intellect is raised." Then she glared at me, her eyes cold and familiar. "Excuse me, but what's this about? Who are you?" I asked calmly. "What? Who am I? Are you saying you've forgotten me?" "Well, all I can say is that you seem like quite a self-absorbed and rude person. Have we met somewhere before?" When I said this, she raised her perfectly shaped eyebrows. They had cost more than my monthly grocery budget, if I had to guess. "What's your problem? How dare you take that attitude with me? If you say you've forgotten, I'll remind you. I'm your sister, Elle. Remember now? Surely even your disappointing brain can recall that. And this is our mother. Don't tell me you've forgotten your own parent, too." I tilted my head slightly. Well, I suppose someone by that name might have been close to me once upon a time. My response seemed to anger them both further. Just then, 2 men came running up, their footsteps echoing on the marble floor. "Hey, what's all the commotion? We could hear the shouting from over there," one of them said. "Elle, are you finished with preparations? Oh, wait, you're still in your regular clothes. You need to change quickly." "Dad, Ron, there's an intruder who's crashed our wedding. Please throw her out right now," Elle pointed at me while shouting. The two men's reactions upon seeing me couldn't have been more different. The man Elle called Dad widened his eyes, then scowled with obvious displeasure. The man called Ron froze with a shocked expression, the color draining from his face. "Why is she here? I never thought I'd have to see her face on such a happy day," my father muttered. "Right, she must have snuck in here by mistake. This is awful. Please call security right away," my mother added. "Hey, what are you saying? Watch your mouth. This person is—" Ron started shouting, his face pale. Seeing this, I murmured quietly, "So you really don't know anything, do you?" No one noticed my whispered observation. "Tara, so this is where you were. I was looking for you," said a new arrival, my husband, Kane. Everyone's attention turned to him at once. Kane looked slightly taken aback by the tense atmosphere. "Sorry, I meant to come right back, but I got caught up with some strange people," I said with a wry smile as I moved closer to him. Kane blinked and looked around at everyone present, then muttered, "Ah." It seemed he'd quickly grasped the situation. Elle, who had been staring at Kane in admiration when he suddenly appeared, quickly switched back to glaring at me when I stood beside him. My parents still wore confused expressions, as if they hadn't fully processed what was happening. Ron, meanwhile, was clearly flustered. He was also the first to speak up. Dr. Ford, I'm so sorry. It seems my wife has been very rude. And, my deepest apologies to your wife as well." "Hey, Elle, you apologize too," Ron said, turning to my sister. "What? Why should I apologize? She's the one who should be apologizing. This shameless person who snuck into our important wedding. I don't know how she found out about it, but this woman is our family's shame. We threw her out of the house long ago and we were supposed to never see her face again." "Family?" Kane asked, his voice deceptively soft. "You say family?" He seemed surprised by this word and looked back and forth between Elle and me. My parents quickly jumped in to explain. "Oh, I'm sorry, Ron. You see, we have a good-for-nothing eldest daughter. She's such an embarrassment. We couldn't even bring ourselves to mention her. Well, we threw her out of the house 9 years ago," my father said smoothly, as if describing a minor inconvenience. "Really? I wonder how she found out about Elle's wedding, showing up here like this. What could she be planning? She's not trying to ruin Elle's wedding, is she?" My mother added. "That's right. She was a foolish daughter who couldn't even get into college. Just a useless defect. She wasted her time with part-time jobs after graduation and lazed around the house, being nothing but a nuisance. She was quite the parasite. We should be thanked for taking care of her through high school." The insults kept coming. However, I had long since given up on this family and had learned to gracefully ignore all manner of verbal abuse. Yes, technically, these people were my family. That's what the family register said. But in reality, my parents had doted on my sister, who was 6 years younger than me, while I was completely neglected from the time I could remember. "Listen here." Kane suddenly turned to me, his eyes intense. "Tara, are these people really your family?" "No, they're not family at all," I replied without hesitation. "After all, family doesn't suddenly yell at you for unreasonable things or withhold food for a day just for spilling a little on the table." My voice remained steady as I continued. "Family doesn't give you hand-me-downs from who knows where while giving my sister brand-name dresses and laughing at the comparison. They don't throw away your study material saying, 'You're stupid anyway, so you don't need these.' They don't ruin textbooks by soaking them in water." The wedding guests nearby had fallen silent, straining to hear our conversation. "You're right," Kane nodded. "Family doesn't throw you outside barefoot in winter for not lending a book to your sister, or lock you in a storage shed in summer, calling it discipline. They don't sell your belongings without permission or say to your face that they'll work you like a slave for life." I wasn't surprised by Kane's knowledge of these details. I'd shared my journals and recordings with him during our first year together, when nightmares of my past still haunted me. "Even the neighbors noticed something was wrong with how the clinic treated the sisters differently," I added. "Suspecting abuse, they stopped bringing their children to a clinic where parents would treat their child that way. I'm surprised nobody reported them for child abuse back then. Now their business is suffering because of it, but they haven't even realized why. It's really something else." During our matter-of-fact exchange revealing the awful treatment I received in the past, Ron was staring wide-eyed. My parents looked stunned, not by the accuracy of our accusations, but by the fact that their daughter, who left home long ago, knew about their clinic's declining business. This information had come from my in-laws' investigation. My in-laws were very sympathetic about the treatment I received and got even angrier about it than I did. They were kind people, and Kane was the same way. They had been investigating my parents' clinic, thinking it might be useful someday. "Hey, stop telling lies. We never did any of that. It's your fault for being a failure," my mother shouted, her voice rising to a panicked pitch. "Ron, don't believe what this woman says." My sister joined in, her face flushed with anger, but I think it was too late. Ron was looking at her with growing disgust. If only she hadn't chased after me when I tried to ignore her and leave, this wouldn't have happened. "No, you're the one who's been lying all along," Kane said directly to Elle. "What do you mean?" she demanded. "You said doctor. Ford's wife only graduated high school? She's a college graduate who started a company and is its president, a medical food-related company that even our hospital relies on." Kane knew Ron through professional networks. My company had been supplying specialized nutritional products to their hospital for almost 2 years now. "President?" My sister looked at me like she was seeing something unbelievable. My parents wore the same expression. "Don't you dare lie. You only graduated high school. What's this about college? Are you saying you went to college without telling us?" my father demanded. "Yes, I did. After all, I was an adult and I had no reason to report anything to people who weren't really family anymore, right?" "How dare you speak to your parents that way? We told you we wouldn't allow you to go to college," my mother sputtered. "And why exactly did I need your permission?" I responded with exasperation. My parents ground their teeth in frustration. During my time as a part-time worker after high school graduation, I'd saved up a considerable amount of money. I used part of it for college expenses. There were still things I wanted to learn and things I wanted to do. Once I left home, I was completely free and could do anything. I met my current husband during college, while I was starting my company. Meanwhile, my sister was muttering something with a pale face. It's a lie, because this one was a defective failure, a useless older sister who couldn't do anything on her own. I thought she must have died in a gutter somewhere after being thrown out of the house, but instead she even went to college, and now she's a company president and she caught the heir to a big hospital. Why? I was supposed to be the one who would definitely be happier. Why? Why are you more successful than me? Why do you look so happy? I wonder why, I replied thoughtfully. Maybe because I kept working hard without becoming bitter, even while receiving unreasonable treatment from my family. Well, I guess I was pretty lucky, too. I said this while looking back at my sister. Then I dropped a bombshell. "By the way, I heard you actually dropped out of medical school. Is that true?" With those words, the atmosphere froze completely. My former family members and Ron all went rigid. What are you suddenly talking about? Who dropped out of medical school?" my sister demanded, her voice shaking. "Actually, I heard from our kind aunt who's always been good to me. After I left home, you got complacent, thinking you could easily get into any prestigious school and didn't study at all. Then you showed up on exam day and turned in almost blank papers. Of course, you failed." My sister's face had gone completely white as I continued. "Then you threw tantrums at home and became a shut-in. You only started going out recently. That was after our parents introduced you to Dr. Ron as a suitable marriage partner. And only then did you finally break out of being a shut-in." As I spoke, Ron's face grew increasingly stern. In contrast, my parents and sister lost more and more color. The aunt who told me this is a distant relative on my father's side. She's a gossip who somehow always knows everything and tells me about it. Though we'd only met 2 or 3 times when I was little, she always looked out for me and even became my guarantor when I needed one. After I left home, she tracked me down through mutual acquaintances, and we've kept in touch via email ever since. "You stop spreading lies." My sister tried to object with a trembling voice, but I ignored her and continued. "Also, you're supposedly working as a medical office clerk at the family clinic, but that's a lie too, isn't it? You don't actually have any qualifications and are just working as an odd jobs helper, right? They can't assign specialized work to someone without qualifications. I'm glad to see they retained at least that much ethical sense. Stop it! Those are all lies! Everything you're saying is a lie! Elle shouted, her voice cracking. Is that so? Well, I'm just telling you what I've heard. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. When I said this, my sister whirled around to face Ron. His expression was filled with suspicion, confusion, and disgust. Elle, you told me and our parents that you graduated from a famous medical school, then got your qualifications and were helping at the family clinic, right? Was it all lies? Academic fraud? This is fraud. You deceived me. That's not true. Ron, don't believe what this woman says. Elle pleaded, grabbing his sleeve. Ron, you're my husband, right? Believe me. Then tell me the name of just one professor from the university you attended. When Ron pressed her like this, my sister froze. That's not relevant now. Oh? Then I'll call one of the professors from the department you claim to attend right now. They're acquaintances of my parents. They know me, their son, and we socialize as families. I'll ask if there was ever a student named Elle. Ron said this while reaching for his smartphone. Stop it! There's no need for that. If you would just believe me, that should be enough. My sister lunged for Ron's phone, snatched it, and slammed it to the floor. Don't try to verify anything. Just believe me. Then she ground the phone further with her heel, her expression almost demonic. Ron was clearly put off, and my stunned parents hurriedly tried to stop my sister. Other wedding guests and venue staff gathered, drawn by the commotion. It had turned into quite a scene. The fact that it felt like someone else's problem must have been because I no longer felt any family connection to them. My family was just my husband and son now. Well, shall we go home? We've given the wedding gift. We've fulfilled our social obligation, right? I suggested to Kane. Are you sure you're done, Tara? My husband implicitly asked if I'd said everything I wanted to say, if I was done with my revenge. I answered with a bright smile. I don't care anymore. Let's go home. Oh, let's stop by the cake shop in this hotel on our way out. I want to try their super luxury cake, Kane suggested. Sure, let's go. Let's buy some cake to take home. Laughing together, we left the wedding venue. 6 months later, my assistant informed me Dr. Alan Ron was being sued for exaggerating diagnoses and charging excessive fees. He'd mentioned me as a character reference. I declined to be involved. Later, my parents showed up at my husband's hospital, demanding to see me and claiming I was obligated to help them. I asked my in-laws to handle it. My father-in-law, the hospital director, personally confronted them and sent them away. Eventually, their clinic closed when former patients complained about their practices. I felt nothing when I heard about it. My sister's marriage lasted barely 3 months. Alan divorced her after his career fell apart. Elle began an affair with a married doctor, creating another scandal when it was discovered. My parents disowned her as a family disgrace, the same label they once gave me. I've heard rumors about Elle's downfall, but have no interest in verifying any of it. My parents can't find work anywhere with their reputation. I don't think about them anymore. My son's health issues were resolved with simple medication. He's 4 now, born during the 3rd year of my marriage to Kane, and thriving with the nurturing care I never received. Today, my real family is gathering for a birthday celebration. The greatest revenge was building a life filled with the love and respect they never thought I deserved. I protect my family.